on the edge of the desert when the drugs begin to take hold.
You're either in or you're out. Right now.
I want to gamble.
I never want to hear those words out of your mouth again.
Gambling is not your problem.
Has anybody ever told you before your bad luck?
Most gamblers, when they go to gamble, they go to win.
Those were my mother's dying words.
When we go to gamble, we go to lose.
Show me the money.
Let's get out of here, man.
Week 16 is here. Christmas has come and gone. Boxing Day is today. Are you guys familiar with the English holiday Boxing Day?
No, but I'm sure we're about to learn.
Yeah,
I didn't even know it was English. I know they celebrate in Canada.
Yeah, so basically it's when you go return all the shitty gifts you don't want. And I think there's a lot of teams, a lot of fantasy owners wishing maybe they'd return some of their players. Because we're right in the thick of fantasy playoffs. Derek knows that well. He's playing for a championship today.
Yep.
And Marcus, I think you look at up and down today's slate, it's kind of contender or pretender week, right? I mean, it started Thursday. I mean, I think we saw that the Browns were definitely pretenders. I think we saw that the Colts should be taken serious and are definitely contenders. So that's going to be a theme that I'm going to kind of be asking you guys up and down the slate of games. And but before that, I think we got to kind of show where we are at so far in the year. It's getting down to the stretch. Derek still reaching that mountaintop at 42-33. I think you're pretty much locked in unless you have an 0-10 streak like I do. I think you're pretty locked into 500. So pretty much
talented enough for that. So
there can only be one. There can only be one. All right, so let's jump to this slate, and it's a game that, outside of the Steelers game, I'm the most interested in today. Baltimore at Cincinnati. Baltimore basically can't field a team. That we had it at 3 when we did this. That line is all the way up to 7 now. So if you didn't go and grab it, it's a crazy line. Marcus, what are you thinking about this AFC North battle?
Well, obviously the spread when we picked this at 3, I really liked Cincinnati. 7 points, I actually really like Baltimore. So this is going to go a little bit different from kind of where we're at. I mean, remember, Baltimore got thumped. Like, they got embarrassed by Cincinnati. Harbaugh will not let that shit happen. It won't fly. They're going to come out and play physical. Josh Johnson's talented enough. Green Bay couldn't even beat Baltimore by more than a point. Cincinnati definitely isn't going to cover.
Well, there we go. I like how you've kind of hedged your bets there. I think Baltimore wins outright. I really do. I think Cincinnati isn't quite there yet to where they can handle expectations. They've had a way better season than I think any of us predicted. You go back and listen to the Sports Memery podcast. I think we all had them pretty securely in the basement of the division. The fact that they control their own destiny is pretty impressive. But for me, this is more of Baltimore's been here. Baltimore's done that. Cincinnati has done nothing to deserve credit for this game. We'll get into my parlay later, but I like Baltimore to win outright in a sloppy, ugly game. A lot of field goals. Derek, what are you looking at on a player's front?
For me, I think we're getting kind of late in the season. I think from a DFS standpoint, most of these projections, most of these numbers are pretty accurate. We have a ton of data, obviously, at this point in the season. It's all about starting studs. I mean, Mark Andrews is good. If you can fit him into your playoff, into your DFS lineup, definitely do it. I think he's going to get a huge share of targets. Huntley likes to kind of stare him down.
Yeah, no, I mean, it seems Mark Andrews can produce with basically anyone under center. Like, I'm curious what he would do if I would line up under center, because if he can catch a ball from Lamar and he can catch a ball from Huntley, he can definitely catch a ball from Josh Johnson.
Now, I know I talk a lot of shit on Lamar throwing the football, but let's not stretch this one a little too far there, Brandon. He'll still be a double-digit tight end, but let's not make him an all-pro with you throwing the ball to him.
Yeah.
What about Mixon, Derek? You can run against this Baltimore defensive line. I know his cost is up, but you just said pick your studs, and he's one of the better running backs I like today.
I definitely like him. I just think that in that kind of top tier running back range of as far as what he costs in a DFS format, there's other guys I like a little bit better, just because I think in this matchup he becomes really touchdown dependent. It's when you get down to the goal line, is it going to go to Jamar Chase? Is it going to go to Mixon? I think you're really gambling on him finishing drives if you're going to go with him.
Yeah, for those that are interested in a lot of percentages, take a look at what a Baltimore win and a Baltimore loss, and then conversely what a Cincinnati win and Cincinnati loss. This isn't an elimination game, but things get very, very difficult for if you lose this game for either one of them. So I mentioned contender, pretender. Marcus, what do you think? Baltimore, contender or pretender?
Probably pretender. They've been a pretender all year, but also Cincinnati's a pretender as well. Let's be frank. The whole AFC North in this spot is a pretender. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts around that. But one of those pretenders will win today. We'll touch on that one later.
Yep. Derek, what about you? You with Marcus? The AFC North is all pretending.
I wouldn't go that far. I definitely the Browns and I don't think the Bengals are. I don't think they have the experience yet to be a real threat in the playoffs. To me, it's like how healthy can Baltimore get? If Baltimore can get even half their guys back, I think they're a legitimate team.
Yeah, if they repair like 3 or 4 or 5 ACLs, they might have a shot.
I mean, they have some guys who could come back. I mean, Lamar's close, by all accounts. So, I mean, I think even just getting Lamar back probably makes him a contender to knock somebody off in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Again, Harbaugh in the playoffs is one story. Lamar in the playoffs is another story. But let's talk about a team that I think is pretty successful in the playoffs. Buffalo going to New England. New England, a 2.5 point favorite when we did this. The line is now 1. I mean, it's darn close to a pick 'em. That makes me like New England even more. Derek, this is your team. What say you?
I think obviously Buffalo's gonna be motivated. They were somewhat, I don't want to say embarrassed, but they didn't look great coming off of the Patriots throwing the ball 3 times and taking a loss at home. They're gonna be motivated, but I think New England's motivated too. It's just still a division game. It's still a game between 2 contenders, and I think New England getting to use their full playbook this week will kind of be the difference here. So I think they cover.
Yep. Yeah, I think they win. Can't go under my underdog parlay because they are a favorite. But I think Buffalo starts to become a pretender here if they fall this game. They're kind of on a Cardinals like slide a little bit. But Derek, like you mentioned in the first game, I like the horses. I like Damian Harris. I like Diggs. I like Josh Allen. I like Hunter Henry. I love the over in this game. 43.5 points isn't a lot of points. I like this game to be kind of in the mid to high 40s. Marcus, what about you? What do you think about the over under, and who are you taking for first touchdown?
Guys, well, first off, I have to take the Bills here. Just if anything, a balanced game. They do have to make a statement. It's been dangerous for them in this game because the Patriots lost to the Colts. That was like, if you can describe what a good loss is, it's that one. Like, they came back, they battled, they found out that their rookie quarterback can fucking sling it when they need him to, which is important. You don't want to force it, but when you need the option, it's good to have it. I know you there's a couple of different players I want to go to. Like, my whole heart wants to go with like Stephon Diggs, but like Belichick doesn't let that type of shit happen. So it's either going to be Knox or Josh Allen. If you think it's going to be a Buffalo end, I'm a big Damian Harris guy, man. I keep rooting for that guy ever since he's out of Bama. So if you want to go on the New England end, it's got to be obviously either him or Hunter Henry. But I still like the smash mouth game. I think there will be more passes than last time, obviously, but it's still going to be a very physical, violent game. So this game is probably going to be more reminiscent of like the mid 2010s Pittsburgh Baltimore. This is gonna be a fun game to watch if you just like smash mouth football.
Yeah, I love the tight ends in this game. I mean, I think Knox and Hunter Henry have a big game. Is there anyone else fantasy relevant, Derek?
I like Kendrick Bourne. I think he's gotten a big target share. Mac likes to go for him, and he's been really explosive after the catch. It's going to be a cold day, but a clear day in New England. I think the passing game should be in full effect.
Yep, for sure. And also, I will admit, a lot of these picks for me are a little bit biased. I need Cincinnati to lose. I need Buffalo to lose. If that means the Steelers have any chance, I need a lot of these fringe teams to start losing, and it didn't help with the Colts winning last night. All right, let's jump to the game that I think Derek's the most scared about, and that has nothing to do with either one of these teams, and more to do with the players. But we have the Rams going into Minnesota. Marcus and I were there a few weeks ago. I think Cooper Kupp takes over this game. I got to witness how bad that secondary is. I got to witness how bad Kirk Cousins is. I'm probably jinxing it, and Derek probably loves hearing this, but this is my lock of the day, guys. I think the Rams win by double digits. I think everything the Rams are good at, the Vikings are bad at. I think this is a slaughter. Derek, I think you're going to have an uphill battle with both Madison kind of struggling, and then against that run D, and then Kupp just taking over that secondary. What do you think about that?
I mean, you're probably right. I'm not a huge fan of this game. Is not going to be good. I just think that Cooper Kupp getting to run routes against the guy that Minnesota at one point thought was worse than Bashard Breeland is scary. Because God, it's gonna be bad. I just hope Cooper Kupp stays under 40 points in fantasy.
Yeah, Marcus, what do you think about Jefferson in this game? Do you think Ramsey completely shuts him out? I know there are a lot of fantasy owners that are probably in the playoffs because of Justin Jefferson. What do you think we can expect from him today?
I mean, he's not going to be fully shut down. Jalen still moves around a lot, so it's a little bit different than it used to be. He's just too. It's hard to say someone's too talented just to put them on man-to-man coverage on one person, but Jalen Ramsey's too talented. It's no matter who the receiver is, you can't have him just locked in on one guy. He's just too good. He needs to be able to. That's why the number one. He doesn't follow the number one receiver. He needs to be out there, count on someone to be in enough of a position and let that guy go play. Your prop. I've given up locks of the week. I've given it up for the whole year. Your prop for this is I'm bringing it back, baby. Lock it in. This is a gimme. It's only minus 110. This should be minus 350. You're talking about averaging 85, 86, 87 yards per receiver. You're going to flirt with this. This is going to be over by the end of the third quarter. Take that, but I have to take Minnesota here just for our competition, just for some fun. I don't really know which way to go. Both of these teams have kind of hurt me and broke me a lot this year.
I mean, it's never bad taking Minnesota at home, right? I mean, Minnesota wins games they shouldn't and then loses games they shouldn't. It's kind of the Minnesota experience. So if this number was bigger, if this number was closer to 5, I might have a little bit of interest in it. But I got the Rams taking the lead of the NFC West with a win here.
Yeah, I love the Rams, but I'm sweet on the Vikings. But part of me really would love a Vikings win and then a Zimmer extension. But we'll see how that one goes today.
I'm so scared of this graphic. This is one reason why I'm kind of happy we weren't bigger, because the NFC East game, we're all on Dallas. Dallas is a big favorite. They are. It's actually dropped to 9. So some juice is going to Washington. But we're all on Dallas. Derek, why are you likely not going to watch this Dallas game?
I mean, I'm gonna have to watch a little bit of it just because, from a fantasy implication standpoint, I'm playing against Amari Cooper. But for me, it's just, I mean, Washington's just they're running on fumes. I don't even know who they're starting at quarterback this week. So I just can't buy into it. Can't believe it. Dallas is probably going to get destroyed by somebody in the playoffs, but there's nothing's going to stop them from winning this week. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, Marcus, player wise, I am going to force you to talk Dak. Talk Dak to me.
What if you want to talk about overrated players that are due for
I knew it.
Now, when I call somebody overrated, it doesn't mean they're bad. But he's being paid $45 million. He's being paid as a top 2 quarterback. 6-week slump is just unacceptable. So hopefully, hopefully for Dallas fans, they kind of break this slump. Like, they couldn't have asked for a better slate to finish the season out. But he still hasn't performed. They need this ball to get rolling for him to build some confidence going into the postseason. Because right now, outside of Micah Parsons, there's really no one consistent in Dallas. And man, I fucking love me some Micah Parsons. But
does that kill you that you have to root for Micah Parsons, the Dallas Cowboy?
No, not at all. If he was in Baltimore, I'd wish very bad things on him. But he's in the NFC. You don't have to worry about it too much. But I'm always going to root for that guy. Albeit him anything short of him being traded to Baltimore, signing in Baltimore, I'll be rooting for him. But the guy's just fantastic. He's kind of kept them he's helped keep them from struggling and losing games that they almost did. But the Dak really needs to take this next step if they want to have any shot at moving forward in the playoffs. But yeah, I'm just taking it on gut that today's that blow up game.
Yep. Derek, let's talk Dak's wide receiver, because I think this is something that you're pretty invested in and you've spent some headspace in. Let's talk Lamb. Let's talk Cooper. Let's talk Gallup. Who do you think is going to have a good game? Who do you think lays a dud? Because I know they're going to play into that thinking is going to play into your decision making today.
Yeah, I think Lamb is 100% to me the least susceptible or least dependent on matchup. I just think he's an absolute stud. I love everything that he does. I think Amari Cooper kind of gets lost sometimes. Sometimes he struggles to get separation. I think he's lost that initial top 2%, top 5% of his speed, and he's starting to struggle to get open. We've seen that happen to other people in the NFL, where Des Bryant kind of fell off the cliff because he just all of a sudden lost that one step he needed to separate.
We talked about Allen Robinson that happening to this year.
Yep, Allen Robinson is another great example of that. And then Gallup just seems to be a security blanket, and you can't a lot of secondaries aren't set up to cover the third option from a wide receiver standpoint. So he gets to kind of feast on the fact that he has two way better players creating some space for him. But I think that also impacts his ceiling. I don't, unless he catches 2 touchdowns on 3-yard slants. I just don't think Gallup has a big ceiling.
Yeah, last guy I want to touch on this game. I'm going to go back over to you, Marcus. Actually, 2 players, because I saw Drew put out a meme. Should fantasy owners have any concern with Antonio Gibson? And can Scary Terry make any kind of impact today against that Cowboys secondary?
Scary, he had a concussion last week, so that there's always going to be that question mark. Got knocked out of that game early on, so I'm kind of surprised he's playing. But I guess Washington's still in the mix. I wouldn't touch any of them. But if Washington wants to stay in this game, kind of like they did last time against Dallas, their defense needs to step up, because the Dallas defense, as inconsistent as they were, they've been progressively meshing. As soon as DeMarcus Lawrence came back, which everyone forgot that he was gone for half the season, that's a big piece that just keeps things rolling, man. This could ultimately end up being one of those 20-13 type of games. So
yes,
but I wouldn't touch anyone on Washington.
I wouldn't touch anyone on either team, Marcus.
Personally, I wouldn't. If I'm going anything, I might do Dallas defense, and that's solely based on forcing and creating turnovers.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have all the research I did. Everyone's projections are under. I think this is an under game, 100%. I'm with you. I don't think it's quite in the 30s, but 46.5 is too much. I can definitely see this game being in the low 40s for sure, in that maybe 40 to 43 range. I don't think it gets to 46.5 at all. I'm with you. If I have fantasy players in this game, I am worried about it. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points. I don't think there's going to be a lot of yards. I think there's going to be a lot of punting in this game. But there always is also a chance in blowouts for garbage time. So this also could be a garbage time game that, you're kicking yourself Tuesday because some results there. So let's go into the worst game of the week, and somehow it's prime time. It's not the worst game of the week. There's some trash games out there, but it's pretty bad for this late in the season prime time. Miami travels not too far to New Orleans, and over under at 37.5. So, that's going to be electric. Marcus, the outline says you're forced to talk about this first. So
What do you mean forced? What do you mean forced? I'm pumped about this game. Like on paper, it might look like dog shit, but lock this in as an easy win, man. Look at the fucking job Brian Flores has done over in Miami, man. What's that? 6-7 games in a row. Remember, they were flirting with a number one.
They were 1-7
pick.
and 6 in a row.
How impressive. And they're about to win 7 in a row, man. Be pumped about this. Miami, be pumped, be excited. Like they are figuring out ways to win, even with like they suck on offense, like, but they're still finding ways to win. If you would have told any Miami fan when they were 1-7 that they have a legitimate shot to like get into the playoffs, like you'd laugh at them. But they're about to do it. They're gonna win this game, make a push, and pending what happens, Miami could be sitting half a game out. Like right now, they're a half a game out or 1 game out of the playoffs. They could jump into that pending how today turns out. Like Miami could be in the playoffs.
I've gotten away from it a little bit in the last few games, but I want to get back to it here. So you think Miami is a contender? Then do you think Tua and company can actually be considered a threat in kind of a shaky AFC?
I think anytime when you get to when it comes playoff time, if you're playing sound defense, you can upset anybody. Like it might be ugly, but we've seen weird shit happen in the playoffs all the time. All you have to do is get to that dance and have a sound defense, which they do. They've been very opportunistic. They've beaten some bad teams, beaten some good teams, but they just keep finding ways to win. Like if it's just one of those weird, fun things to see. And truthfully, look at just the push that they've done. Like again, Brian Flores, you should be in Coach of the Year discussion. But even though this game itself might not be like as exciting that we'd want to watch on Monday night, so many playoff implications because both of these teams are like fringe teams. It's really just going to change what happens in the final 2 weeks, but I'll be rooting for Miami for sure.
Yeah. Derek, are you excited as Marcus is for this game?
I wouldn't say like excited, but I think it's probably going to be one of the more interesting games just because I like to see the Saints struggle. I think they're a terrible organization, and I'm excited.
But come on, they have a movie being made about it.
I'm excited to see their decisions come to fruition. So super excited for that. Mike
Gesicki.
If Gesicki scores, that'd be great. I think he's in prime position. They get all their tools back on offense. They get Waddle comes back. They have Parker who came back last week. The only issue is they're still quarterbacked by Tua. So to me, that's their ceiling. That's why I don't really take them seriously as contenders. But pretty much anybody else, any quarterback better than that, you give them kind of a mid-tier quarterback even, and I think they could upset somebody.
So last year, Kamara won. Anyone who had Kamara in the championship, he had 6 touchdowns last year. Is Kamara winning anyone's fantasy championship today, Marcus? Is that Flores defense going to shut down Kamara? Because I think his usage is going to be out of control.
It's going to be out of control. They're not going to shut him down fully. Like they're not going to shut him down the way like the Bucs have done and a few times in past. But I'm feeling like your ceiling is going to be like in the low 20s, which is sufficient, but it's nothing that's going to like be
not a 40, 50 point day.
Nothing like that.
But what makes this week different than last week? Because last week all indications pointed towards Kamara's usage being out of control, and he had 5 points.
Yeah, he had 5, and they couldn't get shit done because they just can't. Because it should be.
I don't think they can this week either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For me, his ceiling is like low 20s. Like, and that's only if they're finding ways to dump the ball off to him. Like he needs to have 5, 6, 7 receptions to really get up into there, and it's no knock on him. Obviously, they're just not getting it done.
Alrighty. I know you guys will jump into the podcast this week, but again, just kind of a teaser. I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on the Saints reaching out to Drew Brees and Phil Rivers. I think we're probably going to go deep into the podcast this week, but let's do some quick hits real quick. Some other games that I think are pretty interesting. We'll start with Tampa Bay at Carolina. Tampa Bay, a big favorite. Marcus, I know you want to talk Antonio Brown.
It's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this game. Like he's coming back. I wanted to get on that podcast last week to like really dive into like some of the funny things about how quick teams change their personas and thoughts and feelings on things. AB's coming back. They need him, and they need him to show up big. And he's going to he's an automatic DFS start. I'm going to take him as a first touchdown. Could be a 2-touchdown day for him, but expect a heavy workload for him. And also, he's flirting with a lot of bonuses. It's very similar fashion to last year. So expect him to average 7 catches for like 100. I think it's like 111 yards and a touchdown for the next 3 weeks.
Yep, I think you're going to get Marcus and my thoughts here very soon on Pittsburgh, Kansas City, but I want to jump over to Derek to get his thoughts on that quickly. No Kelsey, Mahomes struggles against pressure. Pittsburgh can deliver that. Are you spotting Pittsburgh 10.5 points, or do you think Kansas City gets the job done today at home?
That's such a big number without Kelsey. Is Hill officially in? Because I know he was questionable.
Hill is officially in.
It's just so like that's so many points. A full touchdown, sure, but like that extra field goal on top, I can't buy it.
10.5.
10.5. I don't buy it. I think Pittsburgh covers but loses.
Gotcha. Let's jump to AFC West. I just want to talk about this game real quick. Pretty much an elimination game. Both teams 7-7 with tough schedules the rest of the way. Denver at Las Vegas. Hard to determine what either one of these teams are. I kind of like the over in this game. It's only at 41.5. My projections kind of have it more in that 43, 46 range. And I think there's some fantasy players relevant here. So I think Josh Jacobs could have a decent day. I think Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon possibly could. And one that I know Derek doesn't want to hear, I think Foster Moreau with Waller out, his usage. We were talking about Kamara usage. They feed Derek Carr feeds Moreau. And it wouldn't be a betting and beers if we didn't talk Hunter Renfrow. So Marcus, do you have Hunter Renfrow at all in any lineups?
I've had him all year. I keep riding that young man who looks like he's 80 and not athletic, but he just always seems to be in the right place and getting shit done. He's everyone else is hurt in Vegas. He's going to be their only shot. Yeah. But I do like Vegas. I'm a little sweet towards them, but it's going to be an over type of game. It'll be close, but this is going to probably flirt with 50. But when it's all said and done, maybe 27-24. Yeah, but I do like. I
don't think it's quite that high, but I'm with you on the over. Derek, I haven't asked you this question in a while. Denver, Vegas, are they both pretenders? Can either one of these teams find something?
No, I think that Vegas is just. I mean, they've obviously lost some players during the course of the season. I don't think their defense is good enough to get them over the hump. And then I think it's the reverse in Denver. I don't trust anybody they have under center. I don't think. I mean, Teddy Two Gloves is a fine regular season quarterback. I don't think he's going to go out and win you a playoff game when every single possession matters. And he's not even going to play anytime soon.
Nope.
So.
Nope. All right, let's jump to my two parlays.
Not the guy.
For sure. All right, let's jump to my two parlays. And it's kind of insane, guys. We're getting to the part of the season where unpredictable things happen. And I'm betting on Josh Johnson. I'm betting on the old cowboy. I'm betting on Ian Book. Now that pays out damn near 25-1. But I'm taking kind of an insane parlay. It's a tough week of sledding out there, guys. I don't know if maybe you two have some other list of games. It was really tough to find underdogs this week. So screw it. Let's go for gold. I don't think the first two are too unrealistic. I think I may flirt with the cash out Monday afternoon if I get that opportunity. But yeah, I'm. This is probably my Brandon's overpaying. Yes, for sure. It's huge, but I like it. Are there any other kind of parlays? Any other one, Derek? You would switch out?
So this is a tough one if you're going to go strictly like dogs money line because there's so many big spreads this week.
Yeah,
huge. There are a lot of like 10-point spreads this week, and I'm not in the business of taking 10-point spreads. But honestly, if there was any 10-point spread I would take, it would be the Steelers.
Boy.
Just because I think shorthanded on offense. This is one of those games where maybe Micah Hyde returns one Fitzpatrick. Sorry, Fitzpatrick returns one.
The Pro Bowl snub. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. You're on the right track.
So I could see the Steelers defense getting making an impact early and forcing the Chiefs to play from behind. That's a scenario that could happen
for sure.
And we've seen that happen a couple times where Pittsburgh defense just kind of takes over early and then just doesn't give control back.
One underdog that if I would have looked at this a little bit more, this news wasn't out when I made this selection. Nick Foles over Seattle. Seattle is just an absolute mess right now. So maybe Chicago instead of New Orleans if I had to switch out anything. If you're looking at dogs, but it's a tough dog.
Is Matt Nagy still coaching in Chicago?
He is still coaching in Chicago.
No thanks.
All righty, let's last one here. Let's talk touchdowns. Marcus has made his year on touchdowns. What I do here, guys, if you're first time listeners, I sort of go by position group. I pick each guy a guy in each position group I like the most to score. Jalen Hurts just finds the end zone. I mean, 2 1-yard touchdowns last week. He's clearly the guy. They're treating him as to do everything there. So I like Hurts playing a pretty weak and got nothing to play for Giants team. Najee Harris, we've talked all year about how the Chiefs' run defense is Swiss cheese. Now they're starting to get to the quarterback a little bit more, but I think Najee kind of absolutely feasts today. I think he finds the end zone. And then 2 guys we've talked about quite a bit, Cooper Kupp and Mark Andrews. Those guys are just touchdown magnets. They've delivered all year for us. And this is paying out at 22-1, guys. And I think these are all extremely realistic. I was surprised when I saw 22-1 for 4 studs. Derek, what do you think about this parlay?
I think it's solid. I think from a quarterback standpoint, I mean, Hurts is probably your best bet, just because, like you said, down on the goal line, they call his number a lot. Harris should have a big day. There's no way around it. Cooper Kupp is kind of inevitable, unfortunately. I'm just hoping that they kind of keep him, within reason. And then Andrews, you saw him a 2-point conversion. When they get down around the goal line, they like to find a way to get the ball in his hands. Maybe they score that 2-point conversion and win if that throws on time. So
yeah, if you did want to
opportunities.
If you wanted to boost those odds a little bit, there are some other tight ends that I think we like. I think we like Kyle Pitts today. I think we like Gronk today. I think we like Hunter Henry and Dawson Knox. So I wish JC was on here. He's our tight end guru, but I think this is a huge tight end week. Marcus, do you agree with that take? Big tight end week?
It's always going to be a big tight end week. It's just a matter of finding who it's going to be at the time. It's always a crapshoot, but I actually strongly, very much like your play here this week.
Yep. What about you? What other first touchdowns are you staring at today?
So you guys know I love me some first touchdowns. So basically what I like to do, I just put in 6 players coming up for you here. Today I'm kind of going back to my roots. 10-cent round robin, $5. More you bet, the more you win, but you can win a shitload of money. Some of my favorite players here, Keenan Allen, man. Austin Eckler's out. And they're playing the Texans, so that's kind of a no-brainer. He's right in that 7 to 9 to 1. Miles Sanders, torn between like Devonta Smith, could go Jalen, but I'm just going to go put Miles Sanders in this one just because he still hasn't scored a touchdown, and I'm confident in him. Our homeboy here, Mike Gesicki, me and Derek love him. 100 targets, 2 touchdowns. It's coming. It's inevitable. He's going to get in.
Positive regression.
Obviously,
everyone says it.
We keep raving about AB. Get AB in there. He's going to fucking feast today. And then, we got Diggs and Lamb. Usually, obviously, Bill shuts down the best player, but it could be a nice little bounce back week for Diggs. He had a nice run there, but give me some CeeDee Lamb. He's due. Those are my plays. Those are the ones I love.
So this can't be a betting and beers podcast without we talking about Brandon Cooks. What do we think about Brandon Cooks today, gentlemen?
He feats every week, right?
Yeah, it's a Cooks week. Last week was a Cooks week, as we saw nice 2 tutties. I think 30 points. He might have snagged you guys in fantasy. He just like in real life, your DFS plays, he's always undervalued, so you get a good play there. Mid-tier receiver with obviously very high ceiling. And,
Last note, going back to Keenan Allen, Mike Williams is also out from COVID, so I think that makes Keenan Allen even better. No Eckler, no Mike Williams. So I definitely love Keenan Allen finding the end zone today for sure. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up here. Derek, best of luck to you in the championship. It could be 2 and 3 years if I'm correct. So good luck to you.
Back to back, 2 and 3 years.
Back to back. Here we go. If you're not first, you're last. That needs to be your team next year if you pull it off. So Marcus, good luck to you. And let's go win some money. Let's go watch some football.
Go Steelers.